Are you over 50 and tired of feeling sluggish after every meal? Do you find yourself reaching for that afternoon nap, struggling with energy crashes, or wondering why your doctor keeps mentioning blood sugar control? What if I told you there's a simple, scientifically proven method that takes just 10 to 15 minutes after each meal and could completely transform how you feel every single day? Picture this. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You've just finished a lovely lunch, maybe some pasta with your favorite sauce, or perhaps a sandwich with your grandchildren. But within an hour, that familiar wave hits you, your eyelids grow heavy, your energy plummets, and all you want to do is sink into your favorite chair for a nap. Sound familiar? You're not alone. Millions of people over 60 experience this exact same pattern, day after day, meal after meal. But here's what most people don't realize. This isn't just about getting older. This isn't something you have to accept as an inevitable part of aging. What's happening inside your body after you eat is a complex dance of blood sugar spikes and crashes. And the good news is that you have more control over this dance than you might think. Today, I'm going to share with you 5 incredibly simple movements that will act like tiny sponges in your muscles, literally soaking up excess sugar from your bloodstream. These aren't complicated exercises that require expensive equipment or gym memberships. These aren't high-intensity workouts that will leave you breathless or put stress on aging joints. These are gentle, adaptable movements that you can do in your own home, at your own pace, with modifications for every fitness level and physical limitation. The science behind what I'm about to share with you is absolutely fascinating. When you eat, especially foods rich in carbohydrates, your blood sugar naturally rises. This is completely normal and healthy. However, in many people over 60, this blood sugar response becomes more pronounced and lasts longer than it should. Your muscles, which are normally excellent at absorbing this sugar for energy, become less efficient at this process as we age. This leads to those energy crashes, the afternoon fatigue, the restless sleep, and over time can contribute to more serious health concerns. But here's the remarkable thing. Your muscles are like sleeping giants. Even at 60, 70, or 80 years old, they retain an incredible ability to act as glucose sponges when activated properly. When you move your muscles in specific ways after eating, you essentially wake up these sleeping giants and put them to work, pulling that excess sugar out of your bloodstream and using it for energy instead of letting it cause havoc in your system. The movements I'm about to teach you are based on cutting-edge research from universities around the world. Studies have shown that these simple post-meal movements can reduce blood sugar spikes by up to 40%. Imagine cutting your energy crash nearly in half just by moving for 15 minutes after you eat. Imagine sleeping better at night because your blood sugar isn't on a roller coaster ride. Imagine having sustained energy throughout the day instead of riding the peaks and valleys of sugar highs and lows. Now, before we dive into these life-changing movements, I want to address something important. If you're thinking, but I'm not athletic, or I have joint problems, or I haven't exercised in years, please don't worry. These movements are specifically designed for people like you. Every single movement I'll share today can be modified, adapted, or done while sitting if necessary. Your safety and comfort are paramount, and I'll provide multiple options for each movement so you can choose what works best for your current fitness level and any physical limitations you might have. The beauty of these movements lies not in their intensity, but in their consistency and timing. You don't need to work up a sweat. You don't need to feel like you've just run a marathon. You simply need to activate your muscles in a gentle, controlled way during that critical window after eating when your blood sugar is naturally rising. Let me tell you about Margaret, a 72-year-old grandmother from Ohio who discovered these movements 6 months ago. Margaret had been struggling with afternoon energy crash for years. Every day after lunch, she would feel so tired that she had to cancel plans with her grandchildren or skip social activities that she used to enjoy. She thought this was just part of getting older. But after implementing the last 2 of the movements I'm about to share with you, Margaret noticed a difference within the first week. Within a month, she had her energy back. She was playing with her grandchildren after lunch instead of napping. She was taking evening walks with her husband instead of falling asleep in front of the television. Margaret's story ain't unique. It's just one example of what happens when you give your body the gentle movement it craves after eating. The first movement we're going to explore might seem almost as simple to be effective, but I promise you, the science behind it is robust, and the results are real. It's called the calf raise, or what researchers sometimes call the soleus push-up. Your calf muscle, specifically a part called the soleus, is what scientists refer to as a metabolic furnace. When activated properly, this muscle can consume glucose at an extraordinary rate, acting like a powerful vacuum for excess blood sugar. Here's how to do the basic calf raise. Start by standing behind a sturdy chair, with your hands resting lightly on the back for balance. Your feet should be about hip-width apart, with your weight evenly distributed. Now, slowly rise up onto the balls of your feet, lifting your heels off the ground. Hold this position for just 1 second, feeling the muscles in your calves engage. Then slowly lower your heels back to the ground. That's 1 repetition. The key to making this movement effective is the rhythm and duration. You want to perform this movement slowly and controlled, taking about 2 seconds to rise up and 2 seconds to lower down. Aim for a continuous rhythm for about 3 to 4 minutes at a time. You can break this into shorter segments if needed. Maybe you do 2 minutes, take a brief rest, then do another 2 minutes. Now, if standing feels challenging or if you have balance concerns, you can absolutely do this movement while seated. Sit in a sturdy chair with your feet flat on the floor. Simply lift your heels off the ground while keeping your toes planted, then lower them back down. The muscle activation is nearly identical, and you'll get the same blood sugar benefits. What makes this movement so powerful is that your soleus muscle is unique among your body's muscles. It's what researchers call a postural muscle, meaning it's designed to work for extended periods without fatigue. When you activate it through these gentle calf raises, it begins consuming glucose from your bloodstream at an accelerated rate, essentially acting as a biological glucose disposal system. Recent studies have shown that performing calf raises for just 8 to 12 minutes after a meal can reduce the post-meal blood sugar spike by 20 to 30%. Think about that for a moment. With such a simple movement, one that you can do while watching television or chatting with family, you can significantly impact how your body processes the food you've just eaten. But the benefits extend far beyond blood sugar control. Many people notice that their legs feel stronger and more stable after incorporating regular calf raises into their routine. Your balance may improve, which is incredibly important as we age. Some people even report that their circulation feels better, with less of that heavy, tired feeling in their legs that can develop after sitting for long periods. Now, let's talk about timing. The golden window for these movements is approximately 60 to 90 minutes after you finish eating. This is when your blood sugar naturally peaks, and it's the perfect time to put your muscles to work. However, you don't need to wait the full hour. You can start these movements as early as 20 to 30 minutes after eating, especially if you've had a larger or more carbohydrate-rich meal. I want you to imagine turning this into a pleasant post-meal ritual. Picture finishing your breakfast and then spending a few minutes doing gentle calf raises while you look out your kitchen window at your garden or the morning sky. Visualize completing lunch and then doing these movements while you catch up on your favorite television show or listen to music that makes you smile. This isn't about adding another chore to your day. This is about creating a gentle, enjoyable routine that happens to have profound health benefits. The second movement I want to share with you is perhaps the most accessible and enjoyable of all, the post-meal walk. Now, before you think I've heard this before, let me share some specific strategies that will maximize the blood sugar benefits of this simple activity, along with adaptations that make it work for virtually everyone. Walking after meals is one of the most researched interventions for blood sugar control, and the results are consistently impressive. A gentle 10 to 15-minute walk after eating can reduce blood sugar spikes by 15 to 30%. But it's not just about the duration or the distance. It's about the timing, the intensity, and most importantly, making it sustainable and enjoyable. The ideal post-meal walk begins about 20 to 30 minutes after you finish eating. This timing allows your stomach to begin the digestion process without competing with your muscles for blood flow. Your walk should be at what exercise physiologists call a conversational pace. This means you should be able to carry on a conversation without becoming breathless. If you're walking alone, you should be able to hum a tune or speak out loud comfortably. Now, I understand that not everyone has access to pleasant outdoor walking routes, especially during certain weather conditions or seasons. The beautiful thing about post-meal walking is that it doesn't require a specific location or perfect conditions. You can walk in your hallway, going back and forth for 10 minutes. You can walk around your backyard or patio. If you live in an apartment building, you can walk the corridors, or even walk in place in your living room while watching television. What makes walking particularly effective for blood sugar control is that it activates multiple large muscle groups simultaneously. Your legs, your core muscles, and even your arms, if you swing them naturally, all begin consuming glucose from your bloodstream. It's like turning on multiple glucose-burning furnaces throughout your body all at once. Here's a specific strategy that can amplify the benefits of your post-meal walk. Incorporate gentle arm swings. As you walk, let your arms swing naturally, but be intentional about it. Swing them a bit more than you normally would, perhaps bringing them to about shoulder height. This simple addition can increase your glucose consumption by involving the muscles in your shoulders, arms, and upper back. For those who use walking aids like canes or walkers, you can still gain significant benefits from post-meal movement. The key is moving as many muscle groups as possible within your comfort and safety zone. If you use a walker, focus on maintaining a steady rhythm and perhaps adding some extra lifting with your arms as you move the walker. If you use a cane, you might incorporate some gentle leg lifts or marching in place during rest periods. Let me share with you the story of Robert, a 68-year-old retired teacher who discovered the power of post-meal walking quite by accident. Robert had been experiencing significant afternoon energy crashes and was concerned about his blood sugar levels. His doctor had mentioned that he was borderline for diabetes, but Robert wasn't ready to consider medication. One day, after a particularly heavy lunch, Robert decided to walk to his mailbox to get some fresh air. It was only about a 5-minute walk each way, but he noticed that he didn't experience his usual afternoon slump. Curious, he began making this post-lunch walk a daily habit. Within 2 weeks, he was sleeping better at night. Within a month, his energy levels throughout the day had stabilized. When he returned to his doctor 3 months later, his blood sugar levels had improved significantly. His doctor was so impressed that he now recommends post-meal walks to all his patients over 60. The third movement I want to teach you is what I call the mini squat or chair squat. Now, before you panic and think about those deep squats you might have seen in fitness videos, let me reassure you. This movement is gentle, controlled, and can be adapted for virtually any fitness level or physical limitation. The chair squat is particularly powerful for blood sugar control because it activates your body's largest muscle groups, your quadriceps, hamstrings, and glutes. These are your body's most efficient glucose-consuming muscles, and when you activate them, even gently, they begin pulling sugar out of your bloodstream like powerful vacuum cleaners. Here's how to perform a basic chair squat. Stand in front of a sturdy chair with your feet about shoulder width apart. Your toes should be pointing straight ahead or slightly outward, whatever feels most comfortable. Cross your arms over your chest or hold them out in front of you for balance. Now, slowly lower your body as if you're going to sit down in the chair. Don't actually sit down, but lower yourself until you're barely touching the chair with your bottom. Then slowly stand back up. That's one repetition. The key points to remember are: keep your knees in line with your toes. Don't let them cave inward. Keep your back straight and your chest up. Lower yourself slowly, taking about 3 seconds to go down and 3 seconds to come back up. Start with just 5 to 8 repetitions and gradually build up to 10 to 12 as you become more comfortable with the movement. Now, if the full chair squat feels too challenging, there are several modifications you can make. First, you can actually use the chair for support. Place your hands on the arms of the chair and use them to help lower and raise yourself. Second, you can reduce the range of motion. Instead of lowering yourself all the way to the chair, just lower yourself partway, maybe only 6 inches or so. Third, you can start by simply holding the lowered position. Lower yourself to a comfortable depth and hold that position for 5 to 10 seconds before standing back up. For those with knee problems or other joint concerns, there's an excellent alternative called the wall squat. Stand with your back against a wall, with your feet about 12 inches away from the wall. Slowly slide your back down the wall, lowering yourself into a partial squat position. You don't need to go very far down, just until you feel your leg muscles engage. Hold this position for 5 to 15 seconds, then slide back up. This variation takes pressure off your knees while still activating those large muscle groups. What makes the chair squat so effective for blood sugar control is the sheer amount of muscle mass involved. Your quadriceps, the large muscles on the front of your thighs, are among the most glucose-hungry muscles in your body. Your glutes, the muscles in your bottom, are actually the largest muscles in your body. When you activate these muscles together, even for just a few minutes, they create a significant demand for glucose, pulling it out of your bloodstream and using it for energy. Research has shown that performing just a sets of 8 to 12 squats after a meal can reduce blood sugar spikes by 20 to 25%. The effect is almost immediate, beginning within minutes of completing the movement and lasting for hours afterward. But the benefits of chair squats extend well beyond blood sugar control. Regular practice of this movement can significantly improve your functional strength. This is the type of strength you use every day when getting up from chairs, climbing stairs, or maintaining your balance. Many people over 60 find that incorporating chair squats into their routine makes these daily activities noticeably easier. Let me tell you about Dorothy, a 75-year-old retired nurse who had been struggling to get up from low chairs and her car seat. She was concerned about her increasing dependence on others for simple tasks and worried about her stability when walking. Dorothy started doing just 5 chair squats after each meal, using a sturdy dining room chair for support. Within 3 weeks, she noticed that getting up from chairs was easier. Within 2 months, she could do 10 repetitions without using her hands for support. But the unexpected benefit was that her blood sugar levels which had been creeping upward over the years, began to stabilize. Dorothy's story illustrates how simple movements can have multiple profound impacts on health and independence. The fourth movement I want to share with you might not seem like exercise at all, but it's incredibly effective for blood sugar control and perfectly suited for people who prefer gentle, practical activities. I call these household movement snacks, and they involve transforming simple household tasks into purposeful post-meal movement sessions. The beauty of household movement snacks is that they accomplish the goals simultaneously. They provide the muscle activation needed for blood sugar control, and they take care of practical tasks around your home. This dual purpose makes them incredibly sustainable because you're not setting aside separate time for exercise. You're simply being more intentional about when and how you do routine activities. Here are some examples of effective household movement. Snacks. After breakfast, you might spend 5 to 10 minutes wiping down kitchen counters, washing dishes by hand, or organizing a cupboard. After lunch, you could fold laundry, dust furniture, or sweep a room. After dinner, you might load the dishwasher, wipe down surfaces, or do some light organizing. The key to making these activities effective for blood sugar control is to approach them with intention and gentle intensity. Move with purpose, but don't rush. Engage your whole body when possible. For example, when wiping counters, reach across surfaces and use your core muscles. When folding laundry, stand rather than sit and make deliberate movements with your arms and shoulders. When sweeping, use your whole body in a gentle, rhythmic motion. What makes household movement snacks particularly effective is that they naturally incorporate multiple types of movement. You're reaching, bending, lifting, walking, and using your arms and core muscles. This variety ensures that different muscle groups are activated, creating multiple sites of glucose consumption throughout your body. From a practical standpoint, many people find household movement snacks easier to maintain than formal exercise routines. There's no special equipment required, no need to change clothes or set aside dedicated time. You're simply being more strategic about when you do tasks you need to do anyway. Let me give you some specific examples of how to optimize common household tasks for blood sugar benefits. When washing dishes, stand with your feet slightly apart and engage your core muscles. Alternate which leg bears more weight every few minutes. Make deliberate reaching motions to stretch your arms and shoulders. When folding laundry, stand at a counter or table rather than sitting. Make each folding motion deliberate and controlled, using your arms and shoulders actively. When organizing a closet or drawer, turn it into a gentle stretching session by reaching high and low, twisting gently to access different areas. The timing for household movement snacks follows the same principle as other post-meal movements. Aim for that 60 to 90-minute window after eating when your blood sugar is naturally peaking. However, household tasks offer more flexibility in timing since they can be broken into smaller segments. You might spend 3 minutes clearing the table, then 5 minutes loading the dishwasher, then another 5 minutes wiping down surfaces, spreading the activity across the optimal post-meal window. Research on what scientists call incidental physical activity shows that these types of movements can be just as effective for blood sugar control as more formal exercise. A study of older adults found that those who incorporated more movement into routine daily activities had better blood sugar control and more stable energy levels throughout the day compared to those who remained sedentary after meals. The fifth movement I want to teach you is what I call stationary marching, and it's perfect for people who want an effective, low-impact option that can be done in very small spaces with minimal equipment. This movement is particularly valuable because it can be easily modified for different fitness levels and physical limitations while still providing excellent blood sugar benefits. Stationary marching involves lifting your knees alternately while standing in place, similar to marching in a parade, but without moving forward. This simple movement activates multiple large muscle groups, including your quadriceps, hip flexors, core muscles, and even your upper body if you incorporate arm movements. Here's how to perform basic stationary marching. Stand with your feet hip width apart, with a sturdy chair or wall nearby for balance support if needed. Begin by lifting your right knee up toward your chest, aiming to bring your thigh parallel to the floor if comfortable. At the same time, swing your left arm forward naturally. Lower your right leg back to the starting position while lifting your left knee and swinging your right arm forward. Continue this alternating pattern at a comfortable, steady rhythm. The key is to find a pace that feels sustainable and comfortable. You should be able to maintain the movement for 3 to 5 minutes without becoming overly breathless. Think of it as a gentle, rhythmic motion rather than a high-intensity exercise. Your focus should be on consistency and form rather than speed or height. If lifting your knees to hip height feels challenging, simply lift them as high as is comfortable for you. Even lifting your knees just 6 inches off the ground will activate your muscles and provide blood sugar benefits. If balance is a concern, keep one hand on a chair back or wall for support while marching. You can even do this movement while seated in a sturdy chair, simply lifting your knees alternately while remaining seated. For those who have access to a single step or stair, you can create a variation called step marching. This involves stepping up onto the step with one foot, then bringing the other foot up to meet it, then stepping back down. This adds a bit more intensity and muscle activation while still remaining gentle and controlled. Always ensure you have a handrail or wall for balance support when using stairs. What makes stationary marching particularly effective for blood sugar control is the rhythmic, continuous nature of the movement. Unlike exercises that involve starting and stopping, marching maintains a steady demand for glucose from multiple muscle groups simultaneously. Your legs are constantly working to lift against gravity. Your core muscles are engaged for balance and stability, and your arms contribute to the overall energy expenditure. The beauty of stationary marching is its adaptability to different fitness levels and environments. On days when you feel more energetic, you can march with higher knee lifts and more vigorous arm swings. On days when you feel less energetic, you can march more gently with smaller movements. You can march while watching television, listening to music, or even while talking on the phone. Music can be particularly helpful for maintaining a steady marching rhythm. Choose songs with a moderate tempo, around 100 to 120 beats per minute, which corresponds to a comfortable marching pace for most people. This not only helps maintain consistency, but can make the activity more enjoyable and sustainable. Let me share the story of Frank, a 70-year-old retired mechanic who discovered stationary marching during a particularly cold winter when his usual post-meal walks became impractical. Frank had been experiencing significant blood sugar swings and afternoon fatigue, and his doctor had emphasized the importance of post-meal movement. Initially skeptical that marching in place could be effective, Frank decided to try it for 2 weeks. He sat up in his living room after lunch each day and marched while watching his favorite news program. Within a week, he noticed that his afternoon energy crashes were less severe. Within 3 weeks, his blood sugar readings after meals had improved noticeably. Frank continued this routine even after the weather improved, often combining indoor marching with outdoor walks depending on his energy and the conditions. Now that we've covered 5 powerful movements, let's talk about how to combine them into practical protocols that you can easily implement in your daily routine. The key to success with post-meal movement is consistency rather than perfection. So I'm going to provide you with 3 different protocols that you can choose from based on your current fitness level, time availability, and personal preferences. The first protocol I call the Gentle Start Protocol, and it's designed for people who are just beginning to incorporate movement into their routine, those who have been sedentary for a while, or those who prefer very low-intensity activities. This protocol emphasizes safety, comfort, and building confidence while still providing significant blood sugar benefits. For the Gentle Start Protocol, choose one meal per day to focus on, preferably lunch or dinner when you have more time, and flexibility. About 30 to 60 minutes after finishing your meal, perform the following sequence. Begin with 2 minutes of seated calf raises. Sit comfortably in a sturdy chair and slowly lift and lower your heels while keeping your toes on the ground. Focus on a smooth, controlled rhythm, taking about 2 seconds to lift and 2 seconds to lower. After completing the calf raises, take a 1-minute break to relax and perhaps take a few deep breaths. Next, spend 3 to 5 minutes doing gentle household movement snacks. This might involve wiping down a counter, organizing a small area, or putting away items that are out of place. Move with intention, but don't rush. Finally, end with 1 to 2 minutes of very gentle stationary marching, lifting your knees only as high as is comfortable and using a chair for balance support, if needed. This entire protocol takes only 8 to 10 minutes and can be done entirely indoors without any special equipment. The combination of seated calf raises, practical movement, and gentle marching provides activation for multiple muscle groups while remaining very accessible and sustainable. The second protocol, what I call the Active Comfort Protocol, designed for people who are ready for slightly more activity or who have been doing the Gentle Start Protocol successfully for several weeks. This protocol incorporates more movement variety and slightly longer durations while still maintaining a focus on safety and comfort. For the Active Comfort Protocol, aim to do some form of post-meal movement after 2 meals per day, with one being more structured than the other. For your main post-meal movement session, usually after lunch or dinner, follow this sequence. Start with a 5 to 8 minute gentle walk. This can be outdoors if weather permits, or indoors by walking around your home, up and down a hallway, or even in place while watching television. Focus on maintaining a comfortable, conversational pace. After your walk, perform 1 set of 8 to 10 chair squats, using a sturdy chair for support if needed. Take your time with each repetition, focusing on controlled movement and proper form. Follow the chair squats with 2 to 3 minutes of calf raises, either standing with support or seated, depending on your preference and balance confidence. Finally, spend 2 to 3 minutes doing stationary marching or household movement snacks, whichever appeals to you more that day. For your second, less structured movement session, simply choose one of the individual movements and do it for 3 to 5 minutes. This might be calf raises while watching your morning news, household tasks after breakfast, or a short walk after dinner. The third protocol is the Energized Living Protocol, designed for people who have been successfully doing post-meal movement for several weeks or months and are ready to increase their activity level while still maintaining the gentle, sustainable approach that makes these movements so effective. The Energized Living Protocol involves incorporating movement after all 3 meals, with varying intensities and types throughout the day. After breakfast, spend 5 to 7 minutes doing a combination of household movement snacks and gentle stretching. This might involve making your bed with intentional movements, doing some light kitchen cleanup, or organizing a small area while incorporating reaching and bending motions. After lunch, perform a more structured sequence. Begin with the 10-minute walk, either outdoors or indoors, maintaining a comfortable but purposeful pace. Follow the walk with 2 sets of chair squats, 8 to 12 repetitions each, with a 1-minute rest between sets. End with 2 to 3 minutes of calf raises, focusing on maintaining a steady rhythm. After dinner, choose between a gentle 10-minute walk or 5 to 7 minutes of stationary marching, depending on your energy level and weather conditions. The beautiful thing about these protocols is that they're flexible and adaptable. You don't need to follow them rigidly every single day. Some days you might feel like doing more, other days less. The key is consistency over time, not perfection in each individual session. Let's talk about some practical strategies for making these movements a sustainable part of your daily routine. First, consider pairing your post-meal movement with something you already enjoy doing. Maybe you march while watching your favorite television program, do calf raises while listening to music, or take your post-meal walk while calling a friend or family member. This technique, called habit stacking, makes new behaviors much more likely to stick. Second, prepare your environment for success. If you're planning to do chair squats, identify the sturdy chair you'll use and make sure the area around it is clear. If you're planning to walk indoors, ensure your hallways are free of obstacles. If you're doing household movement snacks, perhaps prepare a small list of tasks that would be perfect for post-meal timing. Third, consider the social aspect of movement. Many people find that involving family members or friends makes post-meal movement more enjoyable and sustainable. Perhaps your spouse or a friend would enjoy taking post-meal walks with you. Maybe your grandchildren would enjoy marching with grandma after a meal. Making movement social can transform it from a solitary health activity into an enjoyable shared experience. Fourth, pay attention to how different movements make you feel and adjust accordingly. Some people find that walking energizes them, while others find calf raises more calming. Some people prefer more structured routines, while others enjoy the variety of household movement snacks. There's no single right approach, only what works best for you individually. Now, let's address some important safety considerations and adaptations that will help you implement these movements safely and effectively, regardless of your current health status or physical limitations. Safety should always be your top priority, and every movement I've described can be modified to accommodate various conditions and concerns. If you have balance concerns, never attempt any movement without appropriate support. This might mean keeping one hand on a chair back, wall, or railing at all times. It might mean doing all movements while seated rather than standing. There's no shame in using support, and the blood sugar benefits remain significant even with these modifications. For those with joint problems, particularly in the knees or hips, focus on range of motion that feels comfortable rather than trying to achieve full movement. A partial chair squat that only lowers you 6 inches can still be very effective. Calf raises done with smaller movements still activate the soleus muscle. The key is consistent, general activation rather than full range of motion. If you have heart conditions or blood pressure concerns, pay attention to your body signals during movement. You should be able to carry on a conversation during any of these activities. If you become breathless, dizzy, or experience any chest discomfort, stop the activity immediately and consult your healthcare provider. For people with diabetes, these movements can be incredibly beneficial, but it's important to monitor your blood sugar response, especially when you're first starting. Some people experience a temporary slight drop in blood sugar during activity, so having a small snack available is wise. Work with your healthcare provider to understand how post-meal movement fits into your overall diabetes management plan. If you're taking medications for blood pressure, blood sugar, or heart conditions, discuss these movement strategies with your doctor. In many cases, regular post-meal movement can enhance the effectiveness of these medications, but your doctor may want to monitor you more closely as you establish these new habits. For those with arthritis or other inflammatory conditions, gentle Movement after meals can actually be beneficial for managing symptoms. The key is to move within your comfort zone and pay attention to how your body responds. Many people find that gentle, consistent movement helps reduce stiffness and discomfort. Let me address some common mistakes that people make when starting post-meal movement routines, so you can avoid these pitfalls and set yourself up for success from the beginning. The first common mistake is waiting too long to start moving after meals. Some people think they need to wait 2 or 3 hours before any physical activity, but this actually misses the optimal window for blood sugar benefits. The ideal time to start gentle movement is 20 to 30 minutes after finishing your meal, with the most beneficial period being 60 to 90 minutes post-meal. The second mistake is starting with too much intensity or duration. Enthusiasm is wonderful, but trying to do too much too soon often leads to soreness, fatigue, or even injury, which can derail your efforts entirely. Start with shorter durations and lower intensities than you think you can handle. You can always increase gradually as these movements become a comfortable part of your routine. The third mistake is being too rigid about the routine. Some people become so focused on following a specific protocol exactly that they become frustrated when life interferes. Remember, some movement is always better than no movement. If you only have time for 2 minutes of calf raises instead of your usual 10-minute routine, that's still beneficial. Flexibility and consistency over time are more important than perfect adherence to a specific plan. The fourth mistake is comparing yourself to others or to your younger self. Your post-meal movement routine should be based on your current abilities, preferences, and goals, not on what someone else is doing or what you used to be able to do. The most effective routine is the one you'll actually do consistently. The fifth mistake is neglecting to track your progress in ways that are meaningful to you. This doesn't necessarily mean keeping detailed logs or charts, but rather paying attention to how you feel. Do you have more energy throughout the day? Are you sleeping better? Do you feel steadier on your feet? Are everyday activities becoming easier? These subjective improvements are often more important and motivating than any numbers or measurements. Let's talk about how to measure and recognize the benefits you're gaining from your post-meal movement routine. While some benefits may be noticeable within days or weeks, others develop more gradually over months. Understanding what to look for can help you stay motivated and appreciate the positive changes happening in your body. One of the first benefits many people notice is more stable energy throughout the day. Instead of experiencing dramatic post-meal energy crashes, you may find that your energy levels remain more consistent. You might notice that you're not reaching for that afternoon nap as often, or that you can maintain focus and alertness longer after meals. Sleep improvements often develop within the first few weeks of consistent post-meal movement. Many people report falling asleep more easily and experiencing more restful sleep. This happens because better blood sugar control throughout the day leads to more stable blood sugar levels at night, which supports better sleep quality. Digestive comfort is another early benefit that many people experience. Gentle movement after meals can help with digestion and may reduce feelings of heaviness or discomfort that sometimes follow eating. Some people notice less bloating or gas, particularly after larger meals. Over time, you may notice improvements in your functional strength and stability. Chair squats, even when done gently, can strengthen the muscles you use for standing up from chairs, climbing stairs, and maintaining balance. Calf raises can improve the strength and endurance of your lower legs, which are crucial for walking. Stability, mood, and mental clarity benefits often develop gradually, but can be quite significant. Regular gentle movement has been shown to support mental well-being, and many people report feeling more positive and mentally sharp when they incorporate post-meal movement into their routine. If you have access to blood sugar monitoring, either Through your healthcare provider or personal monitoring, you may be able to see direct evidence of how these movements affect your post-meal blood sugar levels. Many people find this objective feedback very motivating and helpful for fine-tuning their routine. For those who are concerned about weight management, post-meal movement can be a valuable tool, though it's important to have realistic expectations. These gentle movements alone are unlikely to result in rapid weight loss, but they can support overall metabolic health and may contribute to gradual, sustainable weight management when combined with healthy eating habits. Let me share some inspiring stories of people who have transformed their daily experience through consistent post-meal movement to show you what's possible when you commit to these simple practices. Eleanor, a 78-year-old retired librarian, had been struggling with increasing fatigue and difficulty concentrating. Her doctor mentioned that her blood sugar levels were higher than ideal and suggested medication. Eleanor, preferring to try lifestyle changes first, began doing 5 minutes of calf raises after each meal while reading or listening to audiobooks. Within 6 weeks, she noticed that her afternoon mental fog had lifted significantly. After 3 months, her blood sugar levels had improved enough that her doctor agreed to postpone medication discussions. Eleanor continues her post-meal calf raise routine and has added short walks when weather permits. James, a 65-year-old retired construction worker with arthritic knees, was concerned about his increasing dependence on others for simple tasks around the house. He began doing modified chair squats using his kitchen chair for support, starting with just 3 repetitions after lunch each day. Despite his initial skepticism, James noticed within 2 weeks that getting up from chairs was becoming easier. After 2 months, he could do 8 repetitions without using his hands for support, and he had begun incorporating other household tasks into his post-meal routine. James reports that his confidence in his physical abilities has returned, and he's able to help his grandchildren with activities he thought were behind him. Maria, a 71-year-old grandmother who had been experiencing concerning blood sugar spikes, started with just 3-minute post-meal walks around her apartment. Living in a small space, she initially felt self-conscious about walking back and forth in her hallway. However, within 10 days, she noticed that her energy remained more stable throughout the afternoon. Encouraged by this improvement, Maria expanded her routine to include gentle household tasks and calf raises. 6 months later, her doctor was amazed by her improved blood sugar control and overall vitality. Maria now leads a post-meal walking group in her apartment complex, helping other residents discover these same benefits. These stories illustrate an important point. The most significant transformations often come from consistent implementation of simple practices rather than dramatic changes. Each of these individuals started small, remained consistent, and gradually built upon their initial success. Now, let's discuss how to troubleshoot common challenges that may arise as you begin implementing post-meal movement into your routine. Being prepared for these challenges can help you maintain your momentum and find solutions that work for your unique situation. One common challenge is remembering to move after meals, especially when you're first establishing the habit. Many people find it helpful to set a gentle alarm on their phone for 30 minutes after their usual meal times. Others prefer to use visual cues, such as placing comfortable walking shoes by the door or keeping a small note near their favorite post-meal chair. Some people find that immediately clearing their place setting and moving to their designated movement area helps create a natural transition from eating to moving. Another challenge is dealing with varying energy levels from day to day. Some days you may feel energetic and motivated, while other days you may feel tired or less enthusiastic about movement. The key is having a flexible approach that allows you to do something beneficial regardless of your energy level. On high energy days, You might do your full routine with enthusiasm. On lower energy days, you might do just 2 minutes of seated calf raises or a few household tasks. Remember, some movement is always better than no movement. Weather can be a significant challenge for people who prefer walking as their post-meal movement, particularly during extreme temperatures or precipitation. Having indoor alternatives prepared in advance can help you maintain consistency regardless of weather conditions. This might mean identifying a good indoor walking route, having a backup routine of chair exercises, or designating certain household tasks as your rainy day movement options. Social situations and eating away from home can also present challenges. When dining at restaurants or in social settings, you may not feel comfortable doing obvious exercises. In these situations, consider subtle movements like calf raises under the table, taking a leisurely walk to the restroom and back, or suggesting a short walk after the meal if you're with others. Many people find that friends and family are interested in joining post-meal walks when they understand the health benefits. Motivation can wane over time, especially if you don't immediately notice dramatic changes. This is completely normal and doesn't mean the movements aren't working. Health improvements often happen gradually and may not be immediately obvious. Keep a simple journal noting how you feel each day, your energy levels, sleep quality, or any other factors that are important to you. Over time, patterns of improvement often become clear even when day-to-day changes are subtle. Physical discomfort or soreness when starting a new movement routine is another common concern. If you experience mild muscle soreness in the first week or two, this is often normal as your body adapts to new activities. However, sharp pain, joint discomfort, or soreness that persists for several days should not be ignored. Reduce the intensity or duration of your movements and consult with your healthcare provider if discomfort continues. Let's talk about how to adapt these movements for specific health conditions that are common among people over 60. While you should always consult with your healthcare provider before starting any new movement routine, especially if you have chronic health conditions, there are many ways to modify these gentle movements to accommodate various health concerns. For people with osteoporosis or concerns about bone density, weight-bearing movements like standing calf raises and chair squats can actually be beneficial for maintaining bone health. However, it's important to focus on controlled movements and avoid any activities that might increase fall risk. Using support for balance and starting with smaller ranges of motion can help you gain the bone-supporting benefits while maintaining safety. If you have chronic obstructive pulmonary disease or other breathing conditions, these gentle post-meal movements can often be adapted to work within your breathing capacity. The key is pacing yourself and never pushing to the point of breathlessness. You might break movements into shorter segments with rest periods, or focus more on household movement snacks that allow you to control your pace completely. For those with peripheral neuropathy or reduced sensation in their feet, extra attention to safety is crucial. Ensure that walking areas are well lit and free of obstacles. When doing standing exercises, always use support for balance. Seated variations of movements may be preferable to reduce fall risk while still providing blood sugar benefits. People with Parkinson's disease often find that gentle, rhythmic movements can be particularly beneficial. The consistent rhythm of calf raises or marching can help with motor control, and the timing structure of post-meal movement can provide helpful routine and predictability. Focus on movements that feel smooth and controlled, and don't worry if your range of motion is smaller than what others might achieve. If you have had joint replacements, particularly hip or knee replacements, these movements can often be adapted to work within your specific restrictions. Chair squats might be modified to a smaller range of motion, and walking routes might be planned to avoid uneven surfaces. Your physical therapist can be an excellent resource for specific modifications that work with your particular joint replacement. Now, let's explore how nutrition and timing can enhance the effectiveness of your post-meal movement routine. While the movements themselves are powerful tools for blood sugar control, understanding how different foods affect your body can help you optimize your routine for even better results. Generally speaking, meals higher in refined carbohydrates, sugars, or larger portion sizes will create larger blood sugar spikes and may benefit from slightly longer or more vigorous post-meal movement. This doesn't mean you need to avoid these foods entirely, but rather that you can adjust your movement routine accordingly. For example, after a pasta dinner or a meal that includes dessert, you might extend your usual 10-minute walk to 15 minutes, or add an extra set of chair squats to your routine. Meals that are higher in protein, healthy fats, and fiber tend to create smaller, more gradual blood sugar rises. After these meals, your standard movement routine should be perfectly adequate. Some people find that they need less movement after breakfast if they've had eggs and vegetables compared to after breakfast that included cereal or toast. During illness or recovery from medical procedures, your movement routine will need to be modified, but it doesn't need to be eliminated entirely. Even very gentle movements like seated calf raises or minimal household tasks can provide some benefit and help maintain the habit structure until you can return to your full routine. Travel can disrupt established routines, but post-meal movement is actually quite adaptable to different environments. Hotel rooms provide space for calf raises, chair squats, and stationary marching. Walking in new places can be particularly enjoyable and provide mental stimulation along with physical activity. Airport terminals, while not ideal environments, do allow for walking during layovers. Holiday seasons often involve disrupted schedules and different eating patterns. Rather than abandoning your routine entirely, consider adapting it to the circumstances. Family gatherings might be perfect opportunities for group walks. Holiday meal preparation can incorporate intentional movement through kitchen tasks. During periods of high stress or major life changes, maintaining some form of post-meal movement can actually be particularly beneficial for managing stress and maintaining stability. Even if you need to reduce the duration or intensity temporarily, keeping some element of the routine can provide both physical and psychological benefits. As we near the end of our comprehensive exploration of post-meal movement, I want to emphasize the remarkable opportunity you have before you. These 5 simple movements, calf raises, gentle walking, chair squats, household movement snacks, and stationary marching, represent powerful tools that can significantly impact your daily experience of energy, comfort, and overall health. The science supporting these practices is robust and growing. Research continues to demonstrate that gentle post-meal movement is one of the most effective interventions for blood sugar control, energy stability, and long-term metabolic health. What makes these findings particularly exciting is that the movements required are so accessible and adaptable to different abilities and circumstances. But beyond the scientific evidence, what matters most is how these practices can improve your daily life. Imagine waking up each morning with more consistent energy throughout the day. Picture yourself enjoying meals without the fear of afternoon crashes or uncomfortable blood sugar spikes. Visualize feeling steadier on your feet, stronger in your daily activities, and more confident in your physical abilities. These improvements aren't just possible, they're probable when you commit to consistent, gentle post-meal movement. The key is starting where you are with what you can do, and building gradually over time. Whether you begin with 2 minutes of seated calf raises or a 5-minute post-meal walk, you're taking a significant step toward better health and vitality. Remember that the most effective routine is the one you'll actually do consistently. Don't worry about doing everything perfectly or following a rigid schedule. Focus on creating sustainable habits that fit naturally into your life and bring you satisfaction along with health benefits. Your body has a remarkable capacity to respond positively to gentle, consistent movement, regardless of your age or current fitness level. The muscle sponges that will soak up excess blood sugar are waiting to be activated. The energy stability you've been seeking is within reach through these simple practices. As you begin implementing these movements, be patient with yourself and celebrate small victories. Notice the subtle improvements in how you feel after meals, your energy levels throughout the day, and your overall sense of well-being. These changes may develop gradually, but they can be profound and lasting. The investment of 10 to 15 minutes after each meal is minimal compared to the potential returns in energy, comfort, and health. You're not just managing blood sugar or preventing fatigue. You're taking control of your daily experience and investing in your long-term vitality and independence. I encourage you to start today with whichever movement appeals to you most. Whether it's gentle calf raises while you enjoy your morning coffee, a pleasant walk after lunch, or some purposeful household tasks after dinner, you're beginning a journey toward better health that can transform your daily experience in ways both subtle and significant. Your future self will thank you for the commitment you make today to gentle, consistent post-meal movement. The path to better energy, improved blood sugar control, and enhanced daily vitality begins with a single step, or a single calf raise, or a single chair squat. The choice is yours, and the time to begin is now. Take that first step today, and discover how these simple movements can truly change your life after 60. Your body is ready to respond. Your muscles are waiting to work as glucose sponges, and better days of consistent energy and improved health are just minutes of gentle movement away.